Winged microchip is smallest ever human-made flying structure. Northwestern University engineers have added a new capability to electronic microchips, flight. The microchip doesn't have a motor or engine. It flies on the wind, just like a maple tree's propeller seed. It turns around and goes up-down through the air to go to the ground. Engineers studied how maple trees and other types of seeds were dispersed by wind. They made the aerodynamics of the microflyer better so that it falls slowly and stays in the air for a long time when it is dropped from a high place. This way, it can be used to check air pollution and airborne diseases. These are the smallest flying objects made by humans. They are packed with ultra-miniaturized technology, including sensors, power sources, antennas for wireless communication and embedded memory to store data. The research is featured on the cover of September 23rd issue of Nature. Our objective was to develop winged flight for small-scale electronic systems, with the hope that these features would allow us to distribute highly functional, small electronic devices capable of detecting the environment for contamination monitoring, population surveillance, or disease tracking, said Northwestern's John A. Rogers, who led the development of the device, said, "We were able to do that by using ideas inspired by nature. Over billions of years, nature has designed seeds with very sophisticated aerodynamics. We borrowed those design concepts and applied them to electronic circuit platforms." Rogers is a man who went to school. He was the Louis Simpson and Kimberly Query Professor of Materials Science and Engineering, Biomedical Engineering and Neurological Surgery in the McCormick School of Engineering and Feinberg School of Medicine. He also led the study's theoretical work. Yonggang Huang did that too. We think we just beat the nature. Most people have seen a maple leaf spinning propeller seed plop onto the sidewalk after it was released from a plane. This is only one of many methods by which nature has found innovative, sophisticated ways to enhance plant propagation. By ensuring that seeds are widely dispersed throughout otherwise stationary plants and trees, they may spread their species over vast areas to colon. Evolution was likely the driving force for the sophisticated aerodynamic properties exhibited by many classes of seeds, Rogers said. These biological structures are designed to fall slowly and in a controlled manner, so they can interact with wind patterns for the longest possible period of time. This feature maximizes lateral distribution via purely passive, airborne mechanisms. Seeds from plants have shapes. One type has bladed wings. These seeds go to the ground with a slow, rotating spin. Rogers and his team designed and built many different types of small planes. One has 3 wings, like a seed from a Tristolatea plant. Huang led full-scale modeling of the airflow around the device to find the one that would best imitate how these seeds rotate slowly in the air. Rogers' group built structures in the lab. The group tested those structures with advanced methods for imaging and quantifying patterns of flow. They did this with a person from a different school, who is an associate professor of mechanical engineering at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. The forms that the structures can take are very different. Some of them can be strong and long like nature. We think that we beat nature, Rogers said. At least in the narrow sense that we have been able to build structures that fall with more stable trajectories and at slower terminal velocities than equivalent seeds that you would see from plants or trees. We also were able to build these helicopter flying structures at sizes much smaller than those found in nature. That's important because device miniaturization represents the dominating development trajectory in the electronics industry, where sensors, radios, batteries and other components can be constructed in ever smaller dimensions. From Plantsto pop-up books. The people who made the devices drew inspiration from another thing, a pop-up book. First, he made things with flat shapes. Then, he used these to make the precursors for flying structures. Then he put them on rubber. When you relax it, the wings pop up into a 3D shape. This strategy of making 2D precursors into 3D structures is powerful because all semiconductor devices are flat. We can make a 2D design and then transform it into a 3D shape by using the same principles as a pop-up book. Packed with promise. The microflyers are made up of two parts. One part is millimeter-sized electronic functional components and their wings. The other part is the weight of the electronics, which is distributed low in the center of the microflyer to prevent it from losing control and chaotically tumbling to the ground. The wings interact with in the examples, Rogers' team used sensors and a power source that can get energy from the air. Memory storage and an antenna let it transfer data to a smartphone, tablet or computer. In the lab, Rogers Group made a device that can detect particles in the air. They also used sensors that could be used to find out about water quality and photodetectors that can measure sun exposure at different wavelengths. Rogers imagines that people can drop devices from a building or airplane and then they monitor the environment. The devices monitor chemical spills and air pollution. Most monitoring technologies involve bulk instrumentation designed to collect data locally at a small number of locations across a spatial area of interest, Rogers said. We envision a large multiplicity of miniaturized sensors that can be distributed at a high spatial density over large areas to form a wireless network. Disappearing act. But what about all the electronic litter? Rogers has a plan for that. He's developing something that can break down in water. He's also doing this with an electronic flyer. The end product will be one that breaks down in the ground over time. We fabricate such physically transient electronic systems using degradable polymers, compostable conductors and dissolvable integrated circuit chips that naturally vanish into environmentally benign end products when exposed to water, Rogers said. We recognize that recovery of large collections of microflyers might be difficult. To address this concern, these environmentally resorbable versions dissolve naturally and harmlessly. The study is titled Three-Dimensional Electronic Microflyers Inspired by Wind-Dispersed Seeds. In addition to Rogers and Huang, Co. Corresponding authors include Leonardo Chamorro of the University of Illinois and Yihui Zhong of Tsinghua University in China. The paper's first authors are Bong Hoon Kim of Soonsil University in Korea, Khan Lee of Hwasong University of Science and Technology in China and Jin Tai Kim and Yoon Sik Park, both in Rogers Lab at Northwestern.